Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the Virtual Dokkan Ultimate Clash, and this is part 2 of the worldwide celebration. This one's a little bit different because we only have 2 fights. The first fight is not anything too crazy, and honestly speaking I would say you can pretty much deal with it with just an extreme strength team. So don't panic too much. It's honestly very straightforward. I will say, for me, obviously some of the considerations are simply that basically, all things considered, I will say Paragus is a relatively, you need like a strong extreme strength team. Now when it comes to Broly is a different story. Broly is 9 phases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 phases. With Broly, he starts out relatively strong. He ends up being at around about 300,000 to 400,000 in terms of normals, but his super attacks can hit decently hard. And he also has, in some situations, AoE. So it's not like he's an intrinsically easy fight, to be entirely honest with you. I think it's quite a long, arduous fight. What I will say is you want to bring a strong team. So you see me bring Universe 6. I think Universe 6 does okay. I would say superheroes, movie bosses, Universal Survival Saga, movie heroes, super bosses is also fine. I would say those are probably my go-to teams here. I think any variation of those, Martian Brew Saga also is pretty fine. I think you'll be okay for the most part. So in terms of team build, I will say there are only 2 real phases that I think you need to watch out for a little bit, and that's the 2 AGL phases. So phase 3 and phase 6 are AGL phases when it comes to Broly. And they are AoE phases as well. So they deal AoE damage, pretty decent AoE damage as well. Like if you have a unit that's not in like the 600k bracket, 700k bracket, chances are you're probably going to die to the super. So you need to, handle the stage accordingly. I found that USS worked really well because it has revives. And using one of those revives generally made my team stronger, which meant when I got to phase 6, I was kind of able to just eliminate Broly in one go. Now, phase 6 Broly also does an AoE. You'll see him become an AGL again, and he also does an AoE, but it's not guaranteed. So he has 2 super attacks. One can proc and do AoE damage, the other one cannot proc, the other one is single target. So just depends how lucky you get there. For me, I found USS worked the best. Superheroes was a great fallback team. I did keep one tech team, which was pretty decent. So I kept one tech team, which was very decent. And I think overall, it worked out really, really well. So that was really, really good. And then, on top of all of that, for me, I think like keeping backup tech teams, but just keeping up good backup teams, like keeping, like very solid teams. You don't need to so much do monotype teams, which is what I generally do here. But I would say you generally want to avoid, not having a good backup team. Eventually, once you get past the Broly's, you'll start the Bio Broly phase. This is important, especially if you're running Universe 6, because Bio Broly as a phase is not a pure Saiyan anymore. So all your buffs for like your Cauliflas and Kales and that's going to go out the window. Of course, they should be strong enough now to handle it, but they can be caught out, especially at the extreme end phase. Another thing that's super important is with phase 6, with Broly, he will build up his attack and defense, depending on what kind of super attack you hit him with, and he can become or hit a bit stronger as well. All in all though, I would say if you get past phase 3, you're probably good to go till the end. That's just what I found personally. Like I found that once I get past stage 3, generally speaking, I'm able to take on the rest of the event quite easily. It is a long event, and that's why I suggest bringing 4 or 5 good backup teams. Also bear in mind that you're not going to get a lot of time to build up for like the later phases. Burley starts out hitting like 270, 250k, which isn't bad, but he ends up hitting like 350, 300, 375, and also his super attacks hit quite significantly harder. So for this, you need to obviously make sure that you have some pretty solid like backup teams that start out pretty strong. Be aware of the typings. Burley starts his tech, goes into int, goes into AGL, goes into strength, double back-to-back strength phases, then into AGL for another AoE, extreme int, extreme tech, and then finally extreme physical. It's also important to note that some of the Burleys do have attack effects. The Bio Burleys, though, I would say once you get there, you're generally pretty much good to go. The Bio Burleys do not have like a lot going on with them. So I found like I said, once I got past stage 3, generally I found like everything was pretty much a free ride from there. Just because of the timing of stage 3 and the AoEs and the difficulties it could cause some of my team. Of course, that was just based on my team. You might find that your team doesn't have any issues. I do find that movie bosses, especially if you're using turtlets to fill in the gaps, does have some issues. So I would maybe divert to super bosses rather, as that feels a little bit more productive overall, and potentially just a better team overall as well. With all that being said, that is pretty much everything I would say that you need to know. Honestly speaking, there isn't really too much else that's going to be important for this fight. Now, discussing the rewards, of course, I think a lot of players were expecting a whole nother batch of stones. I also thought we would get like a full-on part 2, like with stones and everything. That's not the case. You'll get 1 stone for beating Paragus, you'll get 1 stone for beating Burley. Then you will get a little bit of battlefield currency. But the majority of your rewards are actually summon tickets. So you get up to 21 summon tickets for part 2 of the event. So by completing it once, you get 7 tickets. By completing it twice, you get another 7. By completing it a 3rd time, you get another 7. So it's not terrible, it's just not like a ton of great rewards. But yeah, that's it from me. Hopefully that helps you, gives you an idea of how to beat the event. But if you do need any more help, you can obviously let me know. I'm always happy to help. And give me a shout if you need help with team building or you're struggling in a certain section. That's it from me. Bye.